A week later, a well-known TV station in Abuja invited her to co-host a special segment on resilience and social change. The set was modified with ramps and space for her wheelchair. Sophia, now more confident and comfortable on screen than ever, delivered her lines with such grace that the station offered her a permanent weekly segment. "You're not just good," the producer told her. "You're the truth people have been waiting to hear." While Sophia's fame rose, the son of the politician who hit her that night, Chukwuka Okoye, watched from the shadows. His father had warned him to stay quiet, but guilt is a loud thing. Every time he saw Sophia's face online, something twisted in his chest. He hadn't meant to hit her. He had been drunk, scared, immature, but the lie had grown so big, he didn't know how to fix it anymore. One night, he showed up outside the studio building where Sophia had just finished her recording. Ken stepped in front, cautious. "What do you want?" he asked. Chukwuka lifted his hands and said, "To tell her the truth, even if it destroys me." Sophia came out and saw the trembling man. She looked into his eyes and knew. Her voice was calm. "Truth is a door," she said. "Walk through it, even if it burns." The next day, Chukwuka went public. In a press conference, he admitted he was the driver who hit Sophia and fled. He confessed everything: how he was drunk, how his father paid to cover it up, and how he had watched Sophia's rise in silence, haunted by shame. His voice cracked several times, and by the end, he broke down in tears. "I'm sorry," he said, "and I'll accept whatever punishment comes." The country exploded. Media outlets rushed to Sophia. Everyone expected her to lash out or sue for billions. Instead, she released a simple video. "Forgiveness doesn't make what he did right," she said, "but it makes what I do next mine to control. I forgive him, not because he deserves peace, but because I deserve to breathe again." That line was quoted across Nigeria. Forgiveness became the trending conversation for weeks. Now that Sophia had a national voice, she used it to speak for others who didn't. One story shook her. A young girl named Hadiza, paralyzed in a similar hit and run, was thrown out of a private hospital because she couldn't pay. Sophia was furious. She made a video titled, "How Much is a Life?" In it, she wept, not for herself, but for the girls like Hadiza who would never get a camera, a ken, or a second chance. The video went viral. Sophia called for a peaceful protest outside the Ministry of Health. Thousands showed up. Disabled, able-bodied, celebrities, market women. Abuja had never seen anything like it. From her wheelchair, Sophia led chants with a megaphone. "We are not invisible." It wasn't just a protest. It was a movement. The spotlight took its toll. Sophia was exhausted. The pressure, the expectations, the emotional weight, it all piled up. One day, during a live stream, she froze mid-sentence. Her eyes blinked rapidly, her breath shallow. Ken rushed in. The doctor said she was experiencing emotional fatigue mixed with physical strain. "She's burning too fast," the nurse whispered. "Her heart's fine, but her soul is tired." They ordered her to rest. No screens, no interviews, no social media. Sophia lay in her bed and stared at the ceiling for hours. "What if I'm only strong when people are watching?" she whispered to Ken. He replied, Strength is what you are in the dark. Rest. The light will wait for you. While Sophia rested, a knock came at the door. A teenage girl in hijab stood holding a folder. Her name was Simi. She had completed the Sophia Digital Academy courses and wanted to deliver her final project in person. It was a photo essay titled "The Woman Who Saved Me." Simi spoke softly. "I used to want to die, but your videos helped me see myself." She knelt and kissed Sophia's hand. "I just wanted you to know that your silence still speaks." That moment reminded Sophia why she started in the first place. It wasn't about the crowd. It was about the one life touched. Just one. After weeks of silence, Sophia returned online. Not with noise, but with a whisper. She uploaded a video titled "Still Here." It was raw. Her face looked tired, but her eyes were clear. "I took a break, and the world didn't fall apart," she smiled. "But I came back because I missed fighting for truth." The comments were filled with love. Donations poured in again. She resumed her weekly show and digital school, but this time, on her own terms. Fewer hours, more boundaries, better health. Sophia wasn't just surviving now. She was living with wisdom. Then came the email that made her scream. The United Nations wanted her to speak at a global summit in Geneva. The topic: digital media and disability inclusion. All expenses paid. An honor given to few Nigerians. Sophia wept in her mother's arms. "Do you see what God can do with a broken girl?" She traveled with Ken and delivered a speech that made the hall go silent. "I don't want to be remembered for being paralyzed," she said. "I want to be remembered for standing, without legs, but with truth." It was just after midnight in Geneva when Sophia's phone rang. She had just finished rehearsing for her UN panel and was winding down. The voice on the other end was trembling. "It's your mother," she collapsed. Sophia's heart stopped. She sat frozen, her hands shaking. The nurse explained that Mama collapsed while cooking and was rushed to a clinic in Garki. Her blood pressure had spiked. It was bad. Sophia didn't wait for the summit. She left Geneva the next morning, barely able to breathe on the plane. Her wheelchair felt heavier than usual. As the plane landed in Abuja, tears streamed silently down her cheeks. "Please, God," she whispered, "don't take her too." She had lost her father to injustice. She wasn't ready to lose her mother to grief. When Sophia entered the hospital room, her mother looked small and pale. Tubes ran from her arms, and her chest rose and fell slowly. But she was alive. "Sophie," she whispered with a smile, "you made it." Sophia held her hand tightly, her tears now free. "You can't leave me," she said. "Not now. Not after everything." Her mother nodded weakly. "I'm proud of you, but promise me something. Don't carry the whole world, and you're just one girl, my baby girl." Sophia couldn't speak. She just kept holding her mother's hand, memorizing the shape of her fingers, the lines on her palm. That night, her mother slipped into a coma. She never woke up. The funeral was quiet. No press, no cameras, just neighbors, church friends, and girls from her academy who wore black dresses and held hands around the graveside. Sophia didn't give a speech. She couldn't. Ken spoke for her. He read her mother's favorite Bible verse and then stood in silence beside her as the soil covered the only woman Sophia had left. Back home, Sophia locked herself in her room for days. She didn't eat, didn't post, didn't speak. She just stared at the ceiling, remembering the old days when her mother laughed while tying her headscarf. Abuja felt cold, and the silence in the house was now too loud. Ken tried everything. He cooked, cleaned, prayed, played her favorite music. Nothing worked. He understood grief, but this was different. Sophia wasn't angry. She was empty. "It's like I'm floating," she told him one night. "Like my body is here, but my soul is somewhere else." Ken knelt beside her and wept silently. "Come back to me," he whispered. "Come back." The next morning, he wheeled her outside to where the sun touched the balcony. "Just breathe," he said. "That's all you have to do today." She inhaled deeply, her first long breath in days. And that's when the healing began. Not fast, not dramatic, just one breathe at a time. Sophia returned to her online platform, but it wasn't the same. Her face carried new shadows. Her words were sharper now, her tone more serious. She started tackling issues no one else dared. Corruption in the government, hospitals, sexual abuse in schools, exploitation of disabled people. Sponsors began pulling away. "You're becoming too controversial," one said. Sophia didn't care. "I'm not here to sell products," she snapped. "I'm here to say what others are too afraid to whisper." Ken warned her. "You'll lose support," she replied. "Then I'll speak with fewer tools but louder truth." The fire inside her had burned through the sorrow and turned into something unshakable. One morning, Sophia woke up to hundreds of messages. Her platform had been hacked. Her Instagram, her YouTube, her digital school, all taken over by an anonymous group calling her a fake hero. Videos were deleted. Student data was wiped out. Everything she had built was vanishing before her eyes. She broke down. "I'm tired," she whispered to Ken. "Maybe this is a sign to stop." But Ken looked at her and said, "You can't stop, Sophia. Not when you've taught thousands to stand. We'll rebuild. From scratch, if we have to." And they did. Brick by digital brick. Voice by voice. Her followers returned, stronger than ever. It was on the anniversary of her accident. 2 years to the day. Sophia was scheduled to give a talk to a group of aspiring journalists. She spoke with strength and clarity. When she finished, Ken rolled onto the stage, nervously holding something in his palm. The crowd gasped as he bent one knee beside her chair and opened a small box. A silver ring. "You've helped me walk through life," he said, "even when you couldn't walk yourself. Marry me, Sophia." Her mouth trembled. For the first time, she was speechless. Then, finally, she smiled. "Yes," she whispered. And the room erupted. The wedding was small, beautiful, and real. No luxury hotels or billionaire guests. Just friends, girls from the academy, people Sophia had touched, and her late mother's photo resting beside her chair. She wore a simple lace dress and a crown of pearls. Ken wore a navy blue aardvarder and cried openly at the altar. They exchanged vows in both English and Pidgin, and when it came time to dance, Sophia twirled in her chair while Ken moved around her like they were floating. That night, The internet overflowed with their love. True love is not about legs, one comment read. It's about loyalty. Sophia was summoned to Oso Rock. The president had seen her documentary on child beggars in Abuja and was moved. "You've done more with a phone than some of us have done with an entire government," he said. He offered her a role on a national media reform committee. "We need your voice." Sophia was honored but hesitant. "I'll serve," she said, "but only if I don't have to shut up when it gets uncomfortable." The president laughed. "That's exactly why I need you." And so, Sophia entered policy spaces, not as a politician, but as a storm in a wheelchair. Late one night, alone in her office, Sophia wheeled herself in front of a mirror. She stared at herself. Her face was older now, her arms thinner, but her eyes still burned with that same stubborn light. She reached out and touched the mirror. "I didn't die," she whispered. "I multiplied." Behind her, the photos of her students, protest signs, and global awards lined the wall. Sophia smiled, knowing that the girl who was once hit, broken, and forgotten had become a beacon for others still crawling through the dark. Sophia had become a household name. Her face was on billboards. Her words echoed in government halls. Her voice now shaped policy, opened schools, and lifted thousands. But with fame came a new burden: burnout. Her days were full, her inbox flooded, her calendar overbooked. One evening, she sat quietly with Ken on the rooftop of their apartment. The wind blew soft against her cheeks. "Do you ever feel like the world is chewing on you?" she asked. He looked at her with worry. Maybe it's time to step back for a while. And for the first time, Sophia considered letting go, not of her purpose, but of the pressure. Not long after, Sophia collapsed during a live virtual panel. Her voice cracked mid-sentence, and her screen froze. Ken rushed into her study and found her slumped, barely breathing. Doctors said it was cardiac fatigue triggered by long-term physical stress and emotional overdrive. The hospital lights brought back memories of the accident, her father, her mother. "You need serious rest," the doctor warned, "or you'll burn out for real this time." Sophia nodded quietly. She knew she had spent so long helping others breathe that she'd forgotten to catch her own breath. It was time to pause. In her quiet room, Sophia called her top students and staff together. "It's time I let go of the wheel," she said with a weak smile. "Not forever, but enough to let others drive." She appointed a young woman named Bilikisu, one of her first students, to lead the academy in her place. "You taught us how to rise," Bilikisu said. "Now let us carry you in return." Sophia watched with pride as her mentor stood tall. Her vision wasn't dying. It was growing legs and walking on without her. While recovering, Sophia got another surprise. She was pregnant. The doctors called it a miracle. With her injuries and condition, they had said it would be impossible. But life had its own plans. She and Ken were speechless. They cried, prayed, and laughed, sometimes all at once. "This child," she whispered, "is not just a gift. It's a symbol that broken things can still bring forth life." She named her daughter Ariella, which means Lion of God. Motherhood came with its own challenges. Sophia couldn't run after a baby. She couldn't carry Ariella up flights of stairs. But she could sing her lullabies, teach her stories, and love her harder than anyone ever had. Ken did the lifting, but Sophia did the shaping. Together, they made it work. She may not walk like other mothers, Ken once said in an interview, but she loves 10 times harder, and the world saw it. Not just through words, but through the soft glow of peace in their home. An international body nominated Sophia for a Global Humanity Award. It was the highest recognition for impact through media. But she hesitated. "I didn't do it for awards," she told Ken. He replied, "But someone out there still needs your story." She flew to New York with Ariella in her arms and Ken beside her. As she received the golden plaque on stage, the hall stood in a silent standing ovation. She whispered, "This award belongs to every broken girl who refused to stay down." Sophia went back to her father's village in Enugu for the first time since his death. With Ken and Ariella beside her, she stood before his grave and wept softly. "We're okay, Daddy. We made it. They couldn't bury your legacy." She pledged to build a small media resource center in the village, named after her father, the 80 Voice Hub. It would be a place where rural youths could learn to tell their stories to the world. The villagers danced and welcomed her home like a queen. Sophia finally wrote her story in a book titled Still I Shine. It covered everything: her fall, her rise, her pain, her victories. The book launched in Abuja and sold out within weeks. Schools added it to their curriculum. Youth groups used it for discussions, and disabled communities found hope in its pages. She didn't hold back in the writing. She told the truth, even when it hurt. "The world needs stories like this," she said. "Not perfect ones, but powerful ones." One cool morning, Sophia recorded a video titled My Final Broadcast. For now, it wasn't sad. It was peaceful. She spoke about growth, grace, and giving yourself permission to pause. "I've said all I can for now," she said. "And now it's your turn to speak. Use your voice. Tell your truth. Rise again and again." The video was short, just 6 minutes, but it became her most shared message ever. Today, if you pass through the streets of Abuja, you might see murals of Sophia on walls, or hear her voice in a young woman's podcast, or see a wheelchair girl on YouTube saying, "If Sophia did it, so can I." Her name has become more than a person. It has become a symbol. Sophia didn't walk the world, but she moved it. She didn't rise with her feet, but with her fire. And so, we will tell this story to our children and grandchildren, not just because it is sad or sweet, but because it reminds us that even when the world crushes your bones, your spirit can still stand tall.